Ironwood Games. This is Andrew, and today we are going to do quick draft Strixhaven. This is going to be actually my first draft of Strixhaven. I'm going to do a quick draft so I don't have the draft timer, so I can read through some cards and kind of get an idea. I'm prepping for another video we're going to make and some other things, and so I just want to see a few more cards. I have at this point played one sealed event pre-release for Strixhaven, and so I've seen a little bit of the cards. Outside of that, I have not seen a lot. I know generally, right, that it's enemy color pairs and some of the mechanics and some of those things. So, but specific cards and strengths and those things I don't know. So we're gonna try and eyeball it, see how we do, feel it out, and go from there. So here we go. All right. For those of you that don't know, again, the quick draft is against the bots. There is no time limit. So we do get to read through all these and kind of really evaluate and think about what our themes are and what we want to do. And also kind of taking note of what cards seem good, don't seem good, so that we can have a better idea going forward. So let's see. They also in the draft packs have the mystical archive, I think they're called, spells. So that makes things interesting. The one we see here is negate, which is a pretty decent counter spell. There's definitely lessons and tricks and things in here, so it has a chance of countering things. I don't know if it's good enough for a pick one. Let's see what our rare is. Wandering Archaic. So this is a double face card. 5 mana for a 4/4. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 2. If they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. That's actually pretty interesting. Seems really good against instants and sorceries. If you're playing against instants and sorceries, it almost seems better than negate, in that you just get to copy it. So when they go to counter, they've got to pay 2 more to be able to counter. Otherwise, you just copy their counter and counter their counter. So really, it's attacks, because most of the times they'll just wait to play around when they can pay the extra 2. But it buys some time. 5 mana makes it a little bit hard to get to, and then as a 4/4 and a creature, it can be killed. So the other side of that, though, explore the Fastlands. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library and reveal a land card and or an instant or sorcery card from among them. So you get a land and an instant or sorcery. So you can get up to 2 cards. One of those being a land, one of them being either instant or sorcery. Each player puts the cards they revealed this way into their hands and the rest in the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player gains 3 life. That's not bad. Each player getting it means, again, if you're playing instant sorceries, is better. If your opponent is, it's not as good, but then it's modal. So it doesn't seem like a bad card. I don't know what else we have. Let's see. We've got the negate. We know about that already. Symmetry Sage. 0/2 for 1 blue. Flying. Magecraft. When you cast a copy an instant or sorcery spell, target creature you control has base power 2 until end of turn. So Magecraft makes it a 2/2. And it has flying. I don't think that's a first pick. If you're in maybe instants and sorceries and Magecraft, again, this lets you copy spells, which helps with Magecraft. So this feels like it wants to be in Magecraft. All right, Silver Quill Apprentice. The apprentices look interesting. I don't know which ones are good. It's a 2/2 for 2. Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So that can be pretty good. It does stack. I think it's better than Symmetry Sage. Witherbloom Apprentice. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. The Drain, I think I like a lot better. And this would be, so far, I think, the best of the uncommons. I don't know if it's better than Wandering Archaic, and being 2 colors makes it a little bit, I don't know if I want to get there. Defend the Campus is fine. Again, I don't know if it's first pickable. I'm not going to read through all of these to save us some time. Ward, I like as an ability. I haven't seen enough of it and played enough of it to know how good these are, how much of a target that is. Leech Fanatic, that's pretty decent. Enthusiastic Study gives you a learn. Number of lands you control. That's not bad. At 6 mana, though, you really want it. I mean, it's going to be a late game play and become a big thing. You need something to do with that. I think you need payoffs, and I don't know what they are. Those pests are interesting. I don't think they're bad. Cram Session is okay for learning and other things. Pledge Mage, First Strike. I think that's definitely interesting and might be the best common that we've seen here. Introduction to Prophecy, scry 2 then draw a card is definitely really good. And then Silverquill 6 Campus. All of these lands are good. I think if you're in those colors or want to splash, those colors can be good. I honestly think Introduction to Prophecy is probably the best common, followed by maybe the Lorehold Pledge Mage. Again, I'm saying this with having very little experience. I played Black-White in my pre-release and didn't necessarily do amazing. I think the Witherbloom Apprentice is the best uncommon and is better than the Lorehold Pledge Mage. It's close. I think 2 mana 2/2 that drains, just slightly better than the 3 mana 2/2 First Strike with Pump, because it can get outclassed and then its Magecraft doesn't really do anything. And this one is just sitting on the board, it's doing things. I don't know between these. I don't know how much drafting lessons is key in draft. That's one of the things we've got to, I guess, figure out. I'm still kind of thinking we might want to take this rare just because we want to play with it and kind of see what it does. And it's a 5 mana 4/4 that keeps us kind of color open. So I think, to me, it's really between the Prophecy and the Archaic. And I think paying the 3 mana, outside of it being a lesson to learn, I think paying 3 mana, we have that option in a thing here. That's a pretty similar card. Yeah, it's not a lesson, it's not a scribe, but we get to look at 5 cards and drop to 2. So it seems pretty good. So we're going to take that, kind of stay open and see what comes. Kind of looking, Magecraft is might be good with that because copying spells and things like that. Let's see, Strategic Planning. Another decent card for our Mystical Archive. I think all the Mystical Archive cards are pretty good. You and target opponent each draw 3 cards. That's interesting. If we're playing more controlling, that might be worthwhile. I don't know that that's good. Karok Wrangler. Put a +1/+1 counter on a target. That's pretty good. Creative Outburst. Deals 5 damage to any target. Look at the top 5 cards you put on your hand, the rest on the bottom. And then you can sack it or discard it for a treasure token, which helps you ramp, helps you do things. It's an interesting card at, what was that, 7 mana? It seems expensive, but good, and early on you can kind of use it to ramp. Let's see, are any of these commons worth really thinking about? Arrogant Poet is interesting, but I don't think this includes by the ward ability. That's an interesting card as just damage to creature or planeswalker. It can't deal damage to a player. I don't think I like Letter of Acceptance enough, especially not here. Expanded Anatomy is a good lesson. I think all the colorless lessons are pretty good. Blood Researcher is definitely interesting. I could see that if we had picked up the Drain creature last time as maybe a follow-up and kind of see if we can't get into Witherbloom. Field Trip is a nice ramp card. This Heated Debate seems really interesting as some damage and removal. It kills things like our Wandering Archaic. This Creative Outburst seems very interesting as well, and I just don't know if it's hard for me to evaluate. You get to pick any card off the top 5, so late game, even at 7, it definitely is. If you have a win condition you're looking for, is something that you're trying to get. I think this is fine for Magecraft. To me, it's really between Heated Debate, this Creative Outburst, and the Strategic Planning. I think these being instants seems a lot better. And again, we'll see the Heated Debate is a common, so I'm going to take this Creative Outburst. Doesn't mean I'll be in either of these colors, but it seems like a strong card. We'll see what it does. All right, Wormhole Serpent. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. That's always good for finishing things. And it doesn't tap, so it can stay up to block. That's pretty good. Agonizing Remorse. Target opponent reveals their hand, choose a non-land card from it or a card from the graveyard. Exile that card. That can be pretty good in Disruption. Hall Monitor. Target creature can't block this turn. Similar to our Wormhole Serpent. The downside is it does have to tap, but it does have haste. So, Daemogoth Woe Eater. Beginning of your upkeep, sack a creature. Opponent discards a card, you draw a card, and you gain 2 life. This is pretty good if you go into like Witherbloom with pests, because you have pests to sack, and that gains you life. If we had been in those other 2 we had seen, I think we would take this as another follow-up and just say Witherbloom go. See what happens, but I don't know. Scepter of the Fins. This seems like a fine mana sink, but very expensive. I like Unwilling Ingredient. I think it's a fine 1/1 menace is interesting, and then it gives you some things. Dragon's Approach. As a sorcery, Illustrious Historian. Comes back as a spirit. Another Field Trip. Elemental Summoning as a lesson makes a 4/4, which isn't bad. Discard 2 cards. If you do, draw 3 cards. Witherbloom Campus. So I'm really here. What I'm kind of one thing I'm thinking is Daemogoth Woe Eater seems good, and kind of maybe see if we move back into Witherbloom, because we don't have to stick to anything. We could take the Wormhole Serpent at 5. It's gonna be late. We've already got some late things, and I don't want to not have anything to do early. The Elemental Summoning seems good, but again, it's another 5 cost. And so I think, Agonizing Remorse is not bad. It gets worse late game. And I don't know that I want to commit to, blue-red right now. So I'm torn between the Daemogoth Woe Eater as, I mean, a 4-mana 7/6 that can really play into Witherbloom, or a Wormhole Serpent that lets me maybe get blue, maybe splash red, go blue-green for things. And I think this is a very important pick in terms of what it leaves us open to doing. Where Demagoth, if we pick it and then we don't have a couple of good Witherbloom picks in the next couple of packs, I think we want to go hard into Witherbloom with it. And if we don't, then we wasted a pick, which is fine. The worst case scenario, I think, is Demagoth into Witherbloom, and then no more Witherbloom. And then we kind of went down a path that dead-ended. But I just don't know how good that is, or the other Witherbloom cards. We've passed some good Witherbloom cards, as well as this will be our second Witherbloom campus. So that's my concern on that, is that we've already sent the signals that we're kind of not in Witherbloom. I don't know how much the bots are going to care about that. I mean, Dragon's Approach definitely looks interesting. Now that I'm reading it all the way, a deck can have any number of cards named Dragon's Approach. I don't know what the dragon payoffs are. Let's keep an eye on that. If we can get a dragon and then make him unblockable, maybe I think blue-red could work out. I'm going to take the Wormhole Serpent, as I just think that is the best option for kind of staying open, looking forward, and seeing what do we get. Yeah, I don't care for Snakeskin Veil. I think it's okay. I don't think I would pick this. And I don't see anything that's strictly Witherbloom that's like, oh, we would have been rewarded and we might have gotten a payoff. So let's see. Illuminate History. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. Then if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. So these spirits don't fly, which is, I think, weird for spirits. I don't know that that's a good card. I mean, at turn 4, otherwise I'm waiting for a handful of lands to discard and draw things, and I don't know that I like it. Mage Hunter. Casts, whenever an opponent casts or copies an instant or sorcery spell, they lose 1 life. That's definitely interesting. This is not worth going into green for. Closing Statement. This spell costs 2 less to cast during your end. Destroy target creature or planeswalker you don't control. That's definitely a good kill spell, which is always good. Search your library of basic planes, reveal it, put in your hand. And then late game we can search out more things. Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Oh, I do like this one. This one I've played with and is pretty good, because whenever a creature blocks this turn, it controller loses 1 life. It can do a lot of damage or make some interesting combat. This one I'm still not a big fan of. Tome Shredder. Put a +1/+1 counter on Tome Shredder. I think he's pretty good as a haste creature. Let's see. Rise of Extus. Exile target creature. Call up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Learn. And then Prismari Pledge Mage. Whenever you cast or copy it, Pledge Mage can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. That's interesting. Eureka Moment. Draw 2 cards. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. It's a decent card. I don't know, again, that we have anything for it. We could just go with Prismari Campus. I like this Closing Statement. I think Mage Hunter's Onslaught is just the better card. And I think it's the best card in the pack as just straight up removal. I think the Mage Hunter is interesting and really good. I think this is something that if we don't end up with and we end up moving into black, we feel bad. And if we don't end up in enough black, yeah, it's the double, we don't splash it, and that's fine. Infuriate is interesting. I don't think it's a combat trick worth taking. Maybe later in a pack. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. I mean, that's a pretty good removal. Exile target tapped creature. That's pretty good removal as well. So it looks like we've got some decent white, maybe some Silver Quill coming around. The Silver Quill Pledge Mage is pretty good. Introduction to Annihilation is really good. I think we might take that, just because it lets us fit it into any deck, and we don't really know our colors yet. I think it's... Yes, it's more expensive, but it's wider than any of these two that are not necessarily colors we're in. And let's see, first day of class, when a creature and it gains haste until end of turn, learn. Those are interesting. Some interesting cards. Let's take the Annihilation and see where we end up. Whoa, 3 campuses here in this one. Okay. Detention Vortex. I like it. I don't like that it's removable, which is the part I don't, doesn't make it as good. When you cast a spell, copy it if you control a Planeswalker, Cleric, Druid, Shaman, Warlock, or Wizard. So we don't really have any creatures right now. Scry 1, then draw a card is not a bad card. Deadly Brew. Each player sacks a creature or planeswalker to be sacrificed. You may return another permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. And then the Owlin Shield Mage. I really like this card. But I don't think it's good enough to go into those colors. Survive a base land card, reveal it, then shuffle it and put it on top. So here I think this campus guide seems pretty good. Maybe we end up in 3 colors in a weird thing. I think that's pretty good. Or we could go with this Deadly Brew and see if we can kind of wheel back into Witherbloom. And how much, maybe we pick up some more campus guides later. Because I could see 3 or 4 of these wouldn't be bad kind of on our 2-drop slot. So let's do that. I think we're going to do that. I'm going to be all over the place in colors, just because I think there are a lot of good spells. So, or we could take Archway Commons to do that. Let's see what this mythic is. Mavanda, Student's Advocate. Flying. Pay 0. You may cast target instance before your graveyard. If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs 8 more to cast this way. Activate only once each turn. Okay, so you can basically give a spell flashback for its mana cost, but if it doesn't target a creature you control, then it costs 8 more. I don't have anything that really plays in that, and so why go into white for that? Practical Research. Draw 4 cards and discard 2 cards unless you could discard an instant or sorcery. That seems, with what we've got in instants and sorceries, to be good. It is blue-red, which we're not huge in. This Mage Hunter is probably just better with what we're kind of seeing. Having seen these Leech Fanatics, there'd be decent things to pick up. There's also an Introduction to Prophecy, and then the Archway Common. I think we're just going to go with the Mage Hunter and see where that takes us. For 4 mana, draw 4, I think this gives us a creature, a 3/4 for 4 mana, and is going to be a little better. We'll see. We maybe don't even end up in Witherbloom, but like I said, maybe we're in 3 colors. Grixis here, and we'll see. Show of Confidence. Copy it for each other instant. We choose new targets for the copies. So it basically has Storm, like one-sided Storm. To go for the end, sure. Mascot Interception. This spell costs 2 life. It targets a creature token. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Up creature. These are interesting. I don't know that we have any sack outlets and what the good targets are. There are a lot of token creatures that get generated, so it might be decent. Essence Infusion. Put 2+1/+1 encounters on target creature, gains lifelink until end of turn. That's fun. First day of class, I think, is interesting if you're having a lot of things enter on the same turn. Otherwise, you're doing it for paying 2 extra to give a creature +1/+1 in haste, which isn't bad, I guess. The Spined Karok is fine. Exhilarating Elocution. I liked this card in my pre-release, but it was kind of one of those that didn't do a ton all the time. Put our card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. And then the letter of acceptance is there. This is interesting. I don't like any of these. I don't like really either of these red cards. I don't want to go in the black-white. It's not good enough. This is 6 isn't, I don't think, good enough. So we could take just this green creature and kind of bank on some Witherbloom and have a creature. We could take a black spell that would let us stay in Witherbloom, or this Grixis combo with maybe the Wormhole Serpent to give something big, unblockable, +2/+2 and lifelink for a turn. Let's do that. I don't know. I think the upside is good. I don't feel confident in now that we're seeing the wheel. We'll see a little bit more, but I don't feel confident in a lot of that Witherbloom like goodness coming back. Cram Session can be interesting if we're gonna learn. I think Trample is a better learning spell. I think the Leech Fanatic can be interesting, but we don't need it. We'll see what we get. I'm afraid if we start going like Witherbloom, we're just going to force it out of having no other options. So here I do think the Witherbloom Campus is better just because if we are playing 3-color black, we can then splash the green. Field Trip would be interesting, but then we're wanting to do like Witherbloom, Splash Blue, or Splash Red, which we're not anywhere near. And I don't know if that card then even makes the deck. Where this at least is a land card and isn't terrible. So I think I want to take the Dragon's approach. We only saw the one, but it did wheel, so maybe we pick up more and we prioritize those. Maybe we never get enough, but I think it's an interesting card and does something interesting. I think the other option is Agonizing Remorse, but I like this Dragon's approach. It could just finish off our opponent. If we can pick them up, we get some more. I like Tome Shredder. We could pick up another Mage Hunter, but I think the Tome Shredder is just the best here. This Prismari Campus wouldn't be bad, but I just want to get some creatures, see what we get. I might pick up that Infuriate. For 1 mana, I'd rather have the Enthusiastic Study. It can save a creature and do that. Is it better than First Day of Class? Yes, I think it is. Okay. Maybe we don't play it. Lorehold Campus, I don't have any white, and we can try and... We've already got plenty of colors. I think I'll take the Leech Fanatic, as it's an interesting card. I don't know that we're going to play Stonebound Mentor or these other ones. Let's see. What do we have here? Compulsive Research. That definitely seems good with what we've got. Let's see. Green-blue. Exile top card is the land card, put it in your hand, otherwise put a study counter on it. Different mana value among non-land cards you own in exile with study counters on. That's interesting. I don't care for it in this deck or what we're doing here. Then you may put a card you own in exile with a study counter into your hand. This feels a lot more like a constructed card where they play together well. Because they're both legendary, so you put one of each in, right? And then you're getting to do things. The Stormkiln Artist definitely seems interesting. As does this Prismari Apprentice. Those definitely seem good. I like Compulsive Research, but these creatures just seem better. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, create treasure, lets you ramp. Serpentine Curve. Exile in your graveyards, that's interesting. Lash of Menace. Pigment Storm. Sorcery with Trample. Indestructible until turn. I think those are interesting. I think I'm going to take this Stormkiln Artist, as it just gives us things and it lets us play our 3 colors a little bit better. I don't know that that's the right choice. I think it's just interesting. Lesson: return target Planeswalker card with mana value X or less from your credit. Remove twice X loyalty counters from target Planeswalker and opponent controls. Interesting, but I think not good in limited. Crushing Disappointment seems fine. Flame Scroll Celebrant. Whenever an opponent activates an ability that doesn't mana, deals 1 damage. I mean, that seems definitely good. The white side doesn't seem like it's worth anything. When iTwitch dies, learn. As a 1/1 with flying, it's fine. Fortifying Draft. Snakeskin Veil. Dina Soul Steeper. Whenever you get in life, each opponent loses 1 life. Definitely some interesting things there. I think we've gone too far from that. Counter target creature or Planeswalker spell unless its controller pays 3. Exile instead of putting into its owner's graveyard. Definitely seems good, but we're kind of leaning towards like black-red, splashing blue at this point, which is why I think I'd rather the Crushing Disappointment or the Flame Scroll Celebrant, which I'm going to take. I think this one seems interesting, and I want to try it. There's other... Ooh, actually, we might need to take the Dragon's Approach. Well, do we need to take the Dragon's Approach because it wheeled last time? Is it likely to wheel again with people thinking nobody took it? Let's find out. If the bots don't like it and aren't there, maybe it comes back again. And that picking the red card at least kind of puts us there if we... Then we're... Ooh, Grape Shot is definitely fun. And I might just pick it up because it's beautiful and sounds fun. Return to Past Caster. Target Spirit instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Spectacle Mage. That definitely seems fun as a flying 3-drop. There's a lot of things that we could use here. Yeah, there's some Witherbloom stuff coming around this way. I like the Spectacle Mage. If it wheels, I think that's good. I don't know that Grape Shot is good for this deck, but it's Grape Shot, and I think that, like, with getting to Wandering Archaic, if our opponent kind of storms off, maybe we follow that up. I'm going to take it just because it's fun. Yeah, bad reason. Environmental Sciences has been really good, especially if we're going some kind of splashing some things. Let's see what else we have, though. The Twin Scroll Shaman seems okay. The Mage Hunter's Onslaught. I wouldn't mind having another just destruction. Let's see. Expressive Iteration. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand. Put one on the bottom and one exile one of them. You may play the exiled card this turn. That actually seems really good. Is it better than the Mage Hunter's Onslaught? No. I think the removal is just better. Maybe it wheels. I think there's some decent things here. If nobody else is playing Prismari, it's got a better chance of wheeling. Humiliate. That's decent for Silverquill. Zimone, I think is interesting. Definitely not where we're at. We're not playing white. Can't be blocked. That's not too bad. I like this Unwilling Ingredient, I think, as these things. Heated Debate might just be the best card, though, as far as kind of some removal. Although an early creature that does let us draw a card might be okay. We did take another Onslaught. I think it's kind of replaceable. I'm going to take the Heated Debate. Again, I don't know about any of these decisions being good or bad. I think we're going to try and get rid of all of the off-colored cards here. Grinning Ignis is definitely a storm level card. Lets us do some things with that Grape Shot or some other things. Bury-in Books is definitely a really good card. I think I'm going to take the Grinning Ignis. So you pay 1 to return it to its hand. You have enough mana to cast it again as you return it. So each extra red basically adds to your storm count, and then you can follow off with like a Grape Shot or something else. Did we have another thing that cared about or the Magecraft just kind of goes in with that? So we're gonna take it. Pick. Plus it's a creature, so it doesn't hurt to have it. Adventurous Impulse is interesting. We're definitely not in that area. Rutha, Mercurial Artist. Return Rutha Mercurial Owner's hand. Copy target instant spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Oh, that seems good for what we're looking at here. The Battle Seer is fine. If that came back, we would definitely look into it. But I think this lady is... I mean, copy an instant or sorcery. Who knows? You got options, right? You got things to do. If I get to copy one off of the Archaic, then I get to copy it again. Because I control it, so I can copy it. That's the only thing. It has to be ones I control. Curate. Look at the top 2 cards. Put none of them into your graveyard and the rest back on the top of your library in any order. Draw a card. I'm a little worried about being light on creatures, which is why I kind of want to take the Vortex Runner or the one of these black creatures. Of course, I could take the Illustrious Historian, as that gives me kind of 2 creatures in one. Yeah, let's do that. I don't know that it's a great creature, but it kind of increases our creature count. Whenever you cast, can't be blocked this turn. Yeah, we're going to pick up the Apprentice. It's a creature. It has Magecraft. Here, the Dragon's Approach did wheel, so we are going to take that. Spectacle Mage seems really good. I would take the Campus, but I need creatures. This plays into what we're doing here. So, ooh. And we've got some decent things wheeling here, I think. This Expressive Iteration seems fine. Yeah, here I think we'll just take the Unwilling Ingredient. Sure, we'll take that because it fits. That can go to the sideboard, and we've still got a whole pack to go. Interesting, another Dragon's Approach. Demogoth Titan. I think we could have ended up with an interesting Witherbloom deck, but I'm not sad about it. There's no guarantee of that. It really wants to go into that pest area. A Wormhole Serpent, I would take another one, but I don't know that we need it. Village Rites is interesting. I don't know that I want to do it. I don't need another Creative Outburst, I don't think. So really, it's this Teach by Example. Copy that spell, you may choose new targets for that copy. Kind of it's a little too far into what we're doing. I think I'm going to take the Dragon's Approach and just hope we get past one more. Or more, and we can do something with it. Mercurial Transformation, target non-land permanent lose. Or a Blue Octopus. That's fine. Snow Day is great. Duress is okay. If we were kind of going Hand Disruption, that would be a lot better. I think the Frost Trickster is better than the Snow Day, just as a flying creature that does a little bit of the same thing. Bury-in Books or Crushing Disappointment are good options. I don't know how much learning we have that we need. We can check, I guess, that we need to get some lessons, because I don't think we're doing a lot of learning in here. We do have 2 of those, but I don't know that they're going to even make the cut. Yeah, so, yeah, sure, lessons are good, but we need more learning to be worth picking them up. We might just take the Tome Shredder. I think the Tome Shredder coming back around is okay. We'll take it. The Fuming Effigy can be interesting. We're not exiling a lot. I think I'm going to take the Frost Trickster as just a cheaper version of that Snow Day, which lets us play it. Exile a creature you control, exile target creature or planeswalker. This seems good, but we do have 2 Mage's Onslaughts, so it's not like we need that. What I'm going to do is the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. That seems fine. Cultivate is a great card. Not where we're at. Again, Bury-in Books. Heated Debate. Did we get the other one? Yeah, we do have one. Sudden Breakthrough is interesting. It's definitely a decent card for a trick. Do we need... We've got some decent creatures. I know we're a little heavy. We got to make some cuts. I don't know that this creature is... great. I think Bury-in Books is better than Sudden Breakthrough. But that, I could be wrong. That could be debatable. But will give us some variety, and we'll get to try a Bury-in Books. Defiant Strike is interesting, not something worth considering because we're not white. Mascot Interception. Make your mark. This essentially is a creature spell. When we trade something or do that, do I like it though? No. I don't know that I like fractal summoning. Do I want another historian? I don't know that any of these are going to make the cut and worth it. The aerialist at 4 is interesting. It has evasion. I like this historian. I think having something early gives us something to do. I don't know. Twin Scroll Shaman seems good. I don't know what we have to... I mean, we have an Infuriate. We have Enthusiastic Summoning. So maybe we have ways to pump him. Maybe we should just play the Eye Twitch. So our lessons... Maybe we don't play... What do we have? Just one lesson, though? And then we don't have to play it. We have a better way to get it. And maybe we pick up another lesson along the way. I'm okay with that. It helps us make some cuts and figure out what maybe works and what doesn't. Here, I think Tome Shredder might be the one. What is this? Graveyard on top of your library. That's not interesting. I mean, that's not bad. I like Tome Shredder, though. I think having another hasty boy that gets us there is interesting. That's an interesting card. Sudden Breakthrough might be the best card. Creates treasure. Teach by Example is interesting for it, but I just don't know that we're going... Unless we're really going to try and storm off. I mean, 9 for an extra copy of that is great, but I don't know. I mean, copying a Mage's Onslaught is good. Copying Bury-in Books can be good. I mean, copying a Dragon's Approach could be good. Heated Debate, sure. Let's take it and see. Maybe it doesn't make the cut. Maybe it does, and we get to do something interesting. So here we have an opportunity to get another different Sudden Breakthrough or another Wormhole Serpent. I don't like... I think we only ended up with 3 Dragon's Approaches, which is sad. I don't like having 2 of these, as I don't know that we need that much at the top. However, what else do we have? So let's take it. We already took Teach by Example, so I think we'll take Village Rites here. I don't know that we'll play it. Or we could take the Prismari Campus for color fixing. No, I like Village Rites. I think that's a better card. I don't think the tap lands are good enough to be needed. I'm not going to pick up the Duress, even though I like it. I think we'll take the Twin Scroll Shaman, as that can be a way that we do have things that maybe make that a game ender. Sure, we'll take our Dust Speaker. I don't think we play any of these. So I'll take the uncommon for the sideboard to see what happens. We'll take... Actually, Maybe we take a Twin Scroll Shaman and we figure out which creatures we actually want. We'll take the uncommon for the sideboard, and we'll take a Sudden Breakthrough, and then again we'll decide what we want. All right, so let's see how we did. Yikesies, yikesies. So we definitely didn't get any lands to help us out, but I think that's okay. Let's see. We're kind of heavy red-black. We have 21 creatures, 18 non-creatures, so we can cut a few creatures. Let's see which ones we want to cut. These are some decent early ones. I don't know that I want Essence Infusion, but we'll come back. We're doing creatures right now. Let's see, a 2/2 that gets lifelink on my turn is fine. If these spirits had flying, this would be so much better. I like the Apprentice. I think if we cut anything, it might be the Leech Fanatic at 2, but I don't know that we want to cut things low. I don't know that we want to cut anything. I mean, maybe we just cut our blue. We do have some of our things here. Ardent Dust Speaker. Is this worth keeping? You may put an instant when it attacks. You may put an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. As a 3/4, is it good enough? No, we'll take that out. The Introduction to Annihilation will be a lesson. We'll take that out as well, and we can learn it with something here. I think I'm going to take... We don't have a ton of things that Prismari gets the counters from, but making it unblockable seems pretty good. I think we'll take the Leech Fanatic, and that puts us at now 17 creatures. Is that right? We lost something. No, we shouldn't have lost those. Okay, that's what happened. 19 creatures sounds good, and then we cut 2. And then we've got to cut some... some spells. I think we're going to cut Grape Shot. It's hard. I don't know. It's fun. There's so many things we could do here, and this is where not knowing... You may exile Dragon Approach and 4 cards named Dragon's Approach from your graveyard. If you do, search your library for a Dragon creature card, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. So we don't have a Dragon creature card. So it's a 3-mana deal 3. I think we get rid of at least 2 of them. We might get rid of the 3rd. Because Heated Debate just is better. Sure, this deals damage to a player, as opposed to a creature. These kills creatures. This keeps them from doing things. This bounces something. Where are we at? We have a lot of 3s. We might have to cut another creature. So the Twin Scroll Shamans are good with these tricks. I'd like to keep at least one of kind of each to try and play around with some of these cards. So is Infuriate just worse than Enthusiastic Study without the Learn? Yeah, we're going to cut an Infuriate. I'm going to cut a Historian. Again, trying to keep kind of just one of each at least and see what we get. I think I'm going to cut Teach by Example. It feels like a win more. A card that if we have the mana to do that, whatever we're casting is going to be big enough that I think we're already coming out ahead. I like Grape Shot, but I feel like it's a trap here. Like, I just... Or is it better than Dragon's Approach, though? Okay, let's cut Dragon's Approach. We might end up cutting both of them. I don't know. Grinning Ignis is okay. Heated Debate seems good. I like that it can't be countered by ward abilities, so it gets through those. I want to play with this Wandering Archaic and see if it's any good or not. It might not be. And that's, again, a lot of this early stuff. I think we have to kill Unwilling Ingredient. And we might have to get rid of Village Rites. I like Village Rites. It's actually really good when they go to kill something, so we might have to get rid of instead. Well, we have Expressive Iteration to draw a card. Yeah, we'll cut Village Rites so we can try Expressive Iteration. The other option is thinking like getting rid of one of our other tricks. So let's cut an Enthusiastic Study. We only have one card, one lesson, so having two things to learn. And the lesson is removal. Let's see where we're at. 17 creatures, 9 non-creatures. So we could probably do one of each if we wanted to. Let's get rid of a Wormhole Serpent. Again, trying to keep as many different cards as possible, I think makes us, puts us in a good spot here. Let's, do we cut a Tome Shredder? We need to make 2 more cuts. Yeah, let's cut a Tome Shredder. He seems way better in maybe Lorehold, where we're exiling more things. I really don't want to cut another creature. I would like to cut a non-creature spell, and it might have to be Grape Shot. I just feel like I want to play with Grape Shot. I want to play with all these cards just to see what they, you know, all do and are. And so, I mean, in that, it's either play with Grape Shot or play with a new card and see how it is. So we're going to cut Grape Shot for that reason. All right, that's going to be our deck that we're going to go forward with. I don't know. I don't know if it's good. I don't know what we did. Please leave me some comments on what you think. If you like some of my decisions, if you think certain cards I cut were should have been kept. Again, I tried to keep at least one of each and kind of cut some duplicates. So in a future, you know, iteration, if one of these cards turns out to be actually better than others, I have a better idea of what to keep and what to cut. But let me know what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed this, like the video. If you want to see more of these, please subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos. And other than that, you guys have a wonderful day.